Willie D Live.
What's up, family? A growing chorus on the right is floating a once unthinkable idea that JD Vance, your vice president, has the power to remove Donald Trump, your president, if he chooses to do so. Now, full transparency, it's not likely to happen. But considering Trump's early stages of dementia, his insane posts and rants, his unstable mind, the fact that he started an unjust war, it's on the table. It could happen. Look, fam, Trump became president. Who thought that would happen? I want to play something for you before I continue my commentary because this is important. I want you to see how this set up, because you know how oftentimes when people are close to each other and one person has all of the power, they typically they talk down, they punch down on the other person. The other person is really like building a quiet internal rage. And then when they have an opportunity to strike, they do. It could happen. JD Vance is easily persuaded. He will flip-flop. So I wouldn't count him out. But I want to play this video for y'all. Check this out. Let me get this on the stage here. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, here we go. There we go.
That's how they governed. They governed with violence. But a lot of people would like to go back. Okay, one more question.
A quick question on fraud for Vice President Vance. Mr. Vice President, you announced a couple of weeks ago in the EOB that the administration would be halting Medicaid payments to Minnesota until the state decided to take pervasive steps to root out fraud. Do you have an update to that specific situation? Do you think that could be a model moving forward for the task force for states that won't cooperate?
So I don't have an update there. Dr. Oz is looking to it, trying to work with the authorities in Minnesota to try to figure that situation out. But yeah, I think there are two obvious tools that we have to stop the fraud that's happening against the American people. One is that when we see evidence of fraud, we stop the payments. Pretty simple, right? We know that the American people are being defrauded. Let's try to stop the payments and ensure that whoever's making these payments is actually complying with some basic due diligence and making sure the payments are going to the right place. I think the second tool, of course, we have, as the president mentioned, is we have law enforcement options. We know that some of this fraud is just bad. Some of it's criminal. We know that people are intentionally trying to defraud the American people. It's not just in Minnesota, it's all across the country.
99% is criminal.
Yes, sir. So this is one of the reasons why DOJ is such an important part of this, is because we have to make sure that where we see criminal conduct, we actually prosecute it. And the president's talked about this a lot in the past. I don't need to repeat it, but it's worth noting that so many times when we find people engaged in really, really bad conduct, the local judge or the local grand jury tries to stop it. One of the cool things about what we're doing is we're trying to take some innovative steps to ensure that when we find criminal fraud, we can actually prosecute it all the way to the end.
Mr. President,
She wanted.
Okay, so we can stop right there. So why is this video important? Why is this exchange important? It's important because JD Vance is Trump's do boy, right? He is basically set up to take the fall for everything that goes wrong in this administration. People say that JD Vance was picked. He was handpicked by Donald Trump because he could be controlled and because he was stupid. That first part, one could say, well, we got that part right, because remember, JD Vance he's on video and audio and everything else talking about how incompetent Donald Trump is and how evil he is. I mean, just on and on and on and on. But the moment that he got the job, all of a sudden, he became Donald Trump's #1 cheerleader. So JD Vance knows how to play the political game. He knows how to play the game. The problem with that is, a person don't stand on nothing. A person that stands, what do they say? You stand for something or fall for anything, right? And JD Vance don't really stand for anything, except perhaps, opportunities, getting ahead. So there is not a lot of hope that this guy is actually going to invoke the 25th Amendment and try to get rid of Donald Trump, because the consensus is that he was brought in to do exactly what he's doing, and should Donald Trump do what he's doing right now, he'd be the type of vice president who would never, ever, 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 ever consider removing him. JD Vance was against military intervention. He don't like foreign intervention. That's not his thing. He's like, the United States is better off minding our own business and staying out of these foreign wars. If we ain't got to go to war, we don't need to. JD Vance was against the Iran war. He was against it. And even after Trump started the war, JD Vance was still against it, but he had to blindly support Trump. He had to give his support and make it seem like they were all on the same team. Although they were not on the same team, he had to play that card, because otherwise Donald Trump was going to be hot with him, and it was going to create a whole bunch of tension. So rather than creating that tension, he decides, you know what, I'm just going to play ball. I'm here for the ride, and this guy is incompetent. I still feel the same way that I felt about him before I became vice president, but I need the Republican Party to stand with me, because he still has about half of the Republican Party still standing with him. He's had at least half who have decided to go a different way, and they're totally against the war. Well, they haven't decided to go a different way, but a great number have decided to go a different way. But half of them at least are against the war. JD Vance is against the war. Should he make a move, he got at least that half who were against the war, who would actually be on his side, because they love the Republican Party and they believe that they have at least a guy who is sensible about war. Trump's idea of war is, can we beat them? Are we bigger than them? Okay, let's go take their shit. Let's go invade them. Well, what did they do, Mr. President? I mean, how are we going to justify it? Hey, we're the United States. Who's going to stop us? If I invade Cuba, I can do what I want to do. I can invade them. I can bomb them. I can starve them. I can do whatever I want to do with the country. Once I take it, I can do whatever I want to do. I can do whatever I want to do. That's the mentality. So this is going to fall it's not just going to fall on his cabinet. This war and this economy, the invasions, the illegal bombings of other countries, the robbing and pillaging of and using the United States budget as a personal piggy bank, all of this is going to fall not just on his cabinet, but it's also going to fall on the voters who pulled that lever for him. Yeah, it's going to fall on y'all too. Believe that. But some of y'all don't even care, because y'all ain't got nothing going on anyway. You don't really care nothing about your kids' future. You don't really care about that stuff. You can't convince me that you do. You can't convince me that you do, man. And you can't convince me that you're a person of integrity when you are rocking with a person who has none. You can't convince me that. You can't convince me that you are a person of compassion or principle when you're rocking with somebody who doesn't have those attributes. You cannot tell me that. I don't care what you say. I'm looking at what you're doing. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But before I go, give me a thumbs up if you think JD Vance will try to make a move on Trump and get rid of him at some point. Thumbs down if you say, nah, man, you dreaming. Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.